I'm not particularly into self-destructive art as such, but if you can burn it, good.
My name's Captain Mango, and I'm here to teach you how to sail a yacht.
And action. And action!
Oh, yes. Sorry. Now, the best thing to do when you see him coming is shove a cork in each ear and get the swabs to strap you to the mast.
Yes, Captain Magno's important, but we've only got 15 minutes, so let's see some of his other art.
That is a flash packet of fame. She hails from New York and the dreadnought's her name. She's bound to the westward where the stormy winds blow. Bound away in the dreadnought to the westward we'll go. Daddy down, 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 daddy down. Now the dreadnought, she lies in the river Mersey, awaiting the tugboat to take her to sea, out around the rock light where the salt tides do flow. Bound away to the westward in the dreadnought we'll go.
Well, ahoy there, shipmates. My name's Captain Mango, and I'm here to tell you about the temptation of St. Anthony. So perhaps it's time to, fire up the engine, as they say. Well, stand back, chaps. Ship ahoy. Marvellous. Marvellous. Good little story, isn't it? Marvellous story. Can't imagine why other artists haven't bothered with it. To go through it briefly, the devil. Here is the devil. And St. Anthony, of course, with his halo. Here we have the Queen of Sheba, representing lust. Here we have gluttony, represented by the big mouth and the tongue. Here we have the tea. St. Anthony, well known for enjoying a cup of tea, and exactly what the devil promised him. And here we have the caves, and God's face in the sun. I think that's about it.
Louise wakes up in bed, has a nice cup of tea and toast, has a shower, puts on makeup and kisses Minnie, jumps on her bike, off to work. At work, ugly people look pretty, and pretty people look ugly. When finished, she cycles home. If time, she meets Captain Magno, who is normally on his yacht. Captain Magno takes her on holidays to interesting hotels. At night, Magno dances with Minnie, and then they all go to bed.
Fire. I like fire and water. I like spending my time on water, and I suppose I like fire for the same reason, although you might see them as opposites. Also, I think it's a good end to an artwork, of fire. Just burning stuff. It's very good. So I just see it as, as a form of sculpture in a way. So, I'm not particularly into self-destructive art as such, but if you can burn it, good. All I'm concerned about is that the exposure's good. All right, Kuchenstein, this is called. Basically, 3 people: Doctor, the monster, and Doctor's assistant. It starts, I might as well read it through. The glamorous assistant rolls on a table of cutlery. You throw him his instruments and he catches them in his teeth. Then
We roll on the patient. Steve is on a table. He's not dead yet.
Okay, action.
Louise is going to make you up to look not very well. You know, you do what you want. I mean, you can be sort of just groaning or muttering or something. He looks very poorly, but still alive. The professor approaches with knife and fork.
Instead of sort of building up to it, just go, "Ah!" and then I'll cut.
Then, because we're not really going to cut your head off, Steve, we're going to cut to a shadow scene, an animated shadow scene, which I'll do in my studio. And that will be the professor, you know, as if it's shadow play, cutting off your head. Then we come back to live filming, and the assistant lifts the lid on a sort of a large tureen to reveal the cake head. Then we get the first shot of Kuchenstein, as he really is. I'll do a shot from above, probably get a step ladder or something. The sheet covers his lower half. He is wheeled to the generator. She pulls down the lever. The room goes dark, then lightning flashes. We see, each time the lightning flashes, we see the professor and assistant in a compromising role. The monster Kuchenstein gets up, stumbling around, knocking over the table of knives and pulling down his drip. The professor looks round, grabs his bag and runs for it, leaving Kuchenstein, who heads for the glamorous assistant, lifting his loincloth to reveal his large penis, which is knitted. Fade out. Any ideas how we can do that?
I came up with the idea, I don't know where from, but that a sculpture of an anus should be made in chocolate. It just seemed to make some sort of poetic sense. What they actually are is a very small sculpture based on the cast of a real anus. Having made chocolate anuses now for a fair while, we've moved into the more permanent anuses made of cast in metal or glass.
Hello, sailor.
Navy blue blazer. Gold buttons with anchors, front and cuffs. Sensible deck shoes. Shorts. White slacks. And a selection of cravats.
Oh.
Hello, sailor.
Louise and her soppy dog are having a nice walk when they receive a space message from Mega Judy. Earth is under attack, so they change into Super Lulu and Wonderman, and they zoom off to find their old friend Giant Squid Boy rearranging London. The slippery fiend makes a run for it. On his way, he stops off at the pub, then visits an old folks' home and goes to the aquarium. Our caped heroes are left searching the city until clever Wonderman picks up the villain's scent. Then Super Lulu makes a celebrity visit to the hospital where she wins the food eating contest, then goes home to relax where she receives a phone call from Mega Judy, who has lost control of the electronic brain. Mega Judy picks up a signal from Wonderman's collar and directs Super Lulu to a secret lair where she finds Squid Boy playing with himself. Once again, the giant cephalopod flees through an orifice, stealing Super Lulu's costume as he leaves. Then Super Lulu uses her superpowers to change into the 50-foot Lulu. Unfortunately, Wonderman stays the same size, so does Lulu's underwear. As the battle is about to commence, Captain Mango's yacht sails under Tower Bridge, where we find him entertaining friends. Peering through his telescope, he recognises his errant son, Giant Squid Boy, causing trouble again. But the captain is busy and waits until the next morning, before telling Squid Boy to return Super Lulu's costume and to behave himself, or he will have to go back to scaring Dace. Then Captain Magno salvages Wonderman and invites Super Lulu to come on board, where they break open the champagne and sail off into the sunset.
Now this is my hat that I made for a protest against a tower block round the corner. And they threatened us with building a 25-storey tower block. So I insisted that if they built such a high tower block, it should have a sailing boat on the top. Well, of course, they poo-pooed this idea, so I joined the protest party, and very successful we've been so far. So that is my anti-tower block hat. This film is called Cake TV. It's about cake and the single-parent family. This poor man has to bring up a baby on his own because in childbirth, the mother, something's happened to her, and it's not explained in the film, but she's turned into that sort of rag doll. You don't know what's happened to mum, and you don't really question it, and their family are watching telly. That's what's happening. And through a series of television programs, the reality of the room and the telly interact. They get a bit mixed up. So it's also about the effect that television has on people's lives and how it sort of takes over in some ways. So if it has to have a reason, this film, and it doesn't, they're the only reasons I could think of. This is what I'll put on the form to the British Arts Council if I fill it in. Single parenthood, male single parenthood, and what was the other one I said?
Cakes.
Huh?
Cakes. Yeah.
Oh, cakes, that's it, cakes. As the television programmes become more extreme and unusual, the cake starts to grow a mouth and teeth, and it eats the cake slice and it attacks father. There's a horrible scene where Dad puts the cake inside his trousers, and then blood runs out the bottom of his trouser legs, and he has to subdue this cake with tea. So he puts tea down there, and then on television appears this gorgeous young woman naked rubbing cake all over her. And father starts getting a bit horny and starts touching up mum, who's the rag doll. And as he's touching her up, he's got cakes in his hands, and as the woman on the television rubs the cake on herself, Dad rubs the cake on mum, the puppet mum. And as he's doing it, she changes into a real woman. The one that we see in the photograph at the very beginning. The opening shot is of a pregnant woman and him in a photograph. So you establish that there is a couple and one was going to have a baby. But when mum and dad get together, she's back to life, and they throw the baby in the dustbin, and that's the end of the film. So it's got a nice ending. It's a love story, and it does end nicely, except for the baby. But it's about cake, and what was the other one I said? Oh, cakes, that's it, cakes. Steady as she goes. Hard down on the left. Hello again, shipmates. Last but not least, when the moon is full, and the tide is high, and everything's shipshape, then is the time for a good old sing-song.
There were 3 ships a-sailing on the sea, and they were deeply laden with pretty things for me. There were comfits in the cabin and apples in the hold. The sails were made of satin and the masts were made of gold.
Happy sailing, shipmates.
24 sailors that played upon the deck were 24 white mice with chains around their neck. The captain was a duck with a packet on his back, and when the ship began to move, the captain said,
"Quack, quack."